How we doing? Turn the music down a little bit. That didn't do it. That's just how loud it is in my ears. I always forget about that. There. How's the music? Is that too quiet? Or is that a nice little background? My goodness, how bad? How bad is this quality? Be honest with me. How we doing, M2K? Good to see you. It feels like it's been a hot minute since I've been able to actually stream. And so I feel completely out of touch with things. I have this tendency. I know this about myself, and maybe some others can what's the word? Can connect with this. I have a tendency to identify a bunch of different things that I want or feel I need to be investing in, and so I look at my week, at least the past month or so, and I look at the time that I have, and I allot a little bit of time towards this and a little bit of time towards that, a little bit of time towards this, a little bit of time towards that, which sounds great theoretically, but what I'm realizing as I go through it is I'm making such slow progress through so many different things instead of just saying, okay, let's really hunker in on these two things or on this one thing even and see an outcome, and then okay, now I can step back a little bit from that one and still give a little bit towards it, but now I can put most of my effort and time into this other thing, and the investment idea, the investment of a lot into one thing, a lot into a little, to then grow and flourish in that little and be able to expand to more. And so that's one of the things I'm realizing about myself with a lot of different things with content and a lot of different responsibilities and things that I need to do. And I realize, I mean, there's some things I got to change up. So one of that is that I need a haircut. That's what I need to change up. M2K, how you doing? How are you? Let me switch this back to the mini player. Procrastinate a lot? Yeah. Well, and that procrastination was one of those things that is one of those things in my life that has been a big issue for a long time. But I will say, like, I think one of the biggest things, one of the things that has become bigger for me over procrastination is it's not that I procrastinate with my time. It's not that I procrastinate with responsibilities and tasks and things that need to get done. But I have a tendency, I don't know if you can call it an issue or a struggle or a whatever, but I have this issue to where I tend to, what's the word? I get lost in the tasks. I get lost in the details. I've always been such a visionary, such an ideator. What? Such an idea person that when it comes to the actual planning and placing myself in a path to move forward and setting certain things up, I've always struggled to actually hit the ground. You know what I mean? So hit the ground running, to be the realist, to be the one to keep me planted. My wife has always been that in a lot of different things in my life. And so with content, one of the things I realize is just like I still struggle after, I'll just say, after over a decade of really trying to figure out productivity, really trying to figure out task management, really trying to figure out things like that, I still find myself floundering, if that makes sense. And so that's something that, man, I wanna get better at. I wanna get better figured out. It's just I've always struggled. One of the things I know, okay, one of the things I know is that I need to niche down, right? So one of the things with like Delkery the channel, right? Delkery the channel, that sounds so legit. But with the Delkery content, specifically looking at like here on Twitch, over on the Delkery YouTube and things like that, one of the things I realize is that I have so many things I could do, so many things I enjoy doing, that it's hard for me to just siphon. And by that I mean niche down, focus on one thing, focus on a specific thing that I could impact in the digital space. And so one of the things I've been really working on is about getting myself to think about how to niche down. So one of the things here within the Delkery realm is I am niching down specifically to gaming, to encouragement to gamers, as well as reaching gamers with faith. And so one of the things, I've thought about with that is on a business side of things is, okay, how do I connect the idea of faith and gaming and getting people to think deeper about the games that they play and stuff like that. I've mentioned before about the idea of doing like a beyond the game, deeper, like hero level video work. You could like podcast idea or something. You could go 1,000 different ways with it. But one of the pieces with that is about looking at how to be able to create. I saw a video from Ed from Film Booth, Creator Booth, whichever one, because he was Film Booth, but I think he stepped away from that. Now he's doing Creator Booth, whatever. But he talks about the rungs on a ladder being there are 4 rungs on a ladder, and a lot of times people, when they think about ways to be able to build a business or to be able to build some sort of income when it comes to offering what they can within a business mindset digitally, that a lot of people jump to things like courses and stuff like that. Well, guess what I was looking at? Creating a course of some sort. And so let me check. Is this blurry? I don't know. I don't know if it has me clear back here, but one of the things I realize is I lost my train of thought. Oh, that's like level 3 of 4. And so, okay, thank you, MTK. And so one of the things I realize is like, what's rung 1? And that's doing things that start to get you a little bit of support, but also build trust within your niche, build trust with people, and begin to build there. And so I'll tell you, one of the things, this is kind of like a town hall meeting where I get to kind of share some of the stuff I've been thinking and working on and stuff like that. So one of the things I've been looking at is, okay, with this idea of connecting gaming and faith, one of the things I came across was the idea of creating kind of like art, digital art in the way of like graphics or what's the word, like posters. Think like a poster, and the idea of taking specific quotes or ideas from popular quotes or popular ideas from popular franchises and certain video games, and then being able to look at it through the lens of the Bible, the lens of faith, and being able to put beside it an awesome, like an intriguing artistic look at something visually, but also having scripture to draw out a biblical truth, a faith truth, regardless of the quote, but connecting to the quote. So for example, I'll show you one that I was looking at doing. The issue with this idea is I don't know how, like, it's so gray for somebody who doesn't work with law stuff. It's very gray to understand what can you actually do. Not what are other people doing and getting away with, but what is actually legal, what is actually good to be doing. And so, I've used Canva for a lifetime, and I've used it forever. And so one of the things I started to do was create this idea of a poster. And I'll show you kind of this idea of what I was doing here. Right here, this is an example using I can do it like this. Using the quote war never changes from Fallout. And so my thought was about creating some sort of engaging poster, which it could also just be a picture. It could be something that somebody can have a digital version of, or you can print off yourself, or even I could do something, whether depending on whatever storefront I can connect with or how things work. I haven't looked into that detail. It can be something that somebody purchases for their room. It can be like a little, hey, here's a little $5 thing, a poster you can put on your wall, or a picture on your desk, or something like that. But the idea is taking a quote that's powerful and impactful to a video game and connecting it to a scripture. And so this was something I came up with when it came to Fallout and the phrase "war never changes," but connecting it to, because that's based out of the idea of the depravity of man and how the brokenness of man can, war will always be the same, and it will continue to ruin, it will continue to destroy, all those kind of things. But plugging that with a biblical truth, which is, guess what? Even in the midst of the fact that war never changes, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. And being able to have that there, and I'm like, man, I'd love to have that right there hanging on my wall, or that in a little picture frame or something like that. The only issue is, thanks M2K, I thought this came out really good, okay? And I know one of the things is whenever you're doing any use of AI, AI did not do this entire thing, but there are parts of this that AI did help with. And so you have to like list that you used AI or that, stuff like that. So I understand that piece. But the issue is this: when it comes to intellectual property law, there's a lot of gray in understanding what can you use. Like the phrase war never changes, two wars, is copyrighted by the Bethesda, the makers of Fallout, right? It is copyrighted. And so the idea of actually doing this with the intention of commercial purposes, I believe, is illegal, if I'm understanding intellectual property laws. So looking at this poster, I can't actually sell this poster because it's illegal, according to my understanding. I'm not going to pay a lawyer to give me, understanding and stuff like that. But that's my understanding. Red, how we doing? Good to see you. So now one of the things in this is, war never changes. It's that to war quote is copyrighted, but war never changes, to my understanding, is not. As well as, well, the only thing on here that then would be questioning is like the Fallout symbol up top with a lightning bolt. So I'd have to look at that stuff. And so I have to look more into detail of what can I actually do and use and what's allowed. So that's one of the issues that I'm really coming across. But here's the deal, chat. What I'm looking at is creating something like this as a first rung of the four rung ladder, in being something that I can offer, and as something that engages in the niche, talking about niching down, connecting faith and gaming, right? That people, if they really want it, they can either purchase outright. If that's the case, and that's considered commercial use, this would not be a legal thing for me to sell. If I'm understanding things correctly, I don't think it would. And so what I would need to do is one of two things. Again, very, very gray on this. One would be, I can't do it. I got to figure something else out. Two would be either one, I can create something like this and I can have it listed as free, but people could tip or donate. You know what I'm saying? Like I believe that could be a way around that. I couldn't make it a required minimum of $5 because that's a required payment, so that's commercial use. So that's what I'm understanding. The other thing would be to try and go back and rework this to actually be something that gives the idea, gives the understanding, without without crossing the bounds of intellectual property law. But again, I'm very great. And what I thought was going to be a really, like, what I thought would be a pretty simple, like, thing for me to invest it would take a little time. Like, that actually didn't take me a lot of time to be able to create. The thing that took me the most was with the letters in the words. The letters in the words, I actually, can I zoom in on this? There we go. I actually, like, I did some layering and stuff, so it's like they're in the dirt, right? So, but like, this isn't a wasteland from Fallout. It's just deserted wasteland stuff. And so, like, the only pieces here is figuring out, what can I do with quotes? What can I do with quotes? Obviously, I can put scripture. I can put Bible verses, right? But what can I do with quotes? And I think the logo piece has to, I mean, it looks good, but I think the logo piece has to go. Unless there's a way that hey, press this button. Yay, the right one, from Hilly and from M2K earlier. Appreciate you guys. Hilly, how we doing? So this is kind of the idea I'm sitting with right now, guys. Is the idea of being able to create a couple of these, and by a couple of these, I mean, like, you guys get kind of a background, like a behind the scenes kind of view of stuff. Like, that's one of them, but another one would be, let me try and find it real quick. Another one would be maybe something along the lines of like, here's another one I did as I was testing out this idea. Zelda. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. You know, everybody knows that quote from the old man. And then on the top, it says, and be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age, Matthew 28:20. So again, the idea I've had is about creating something, different things like this with different known quotes from different video games, and connecting it to scriptural truths, biblical truths. And the idea is about being able to connect gaming and faith. And it's in a nice, simple thing. And the idea is to create things that can be like this can be something that you can hang as a poster on your wall, or you can have as a little 4x6 in a frame or something like that. You can have on your social media, you know, that kind of thing. But being able to create these and then offer, and again, trying to figure out what that means to offer, not knowing 100% what the intellectual property laws are with copyright and such, with the phrases, quotes, certain character pictures, stuff like that. Like, this is an AI artist rendition of Link. Is that legal or not? Those are some of the pieces I have to figure out and better understand. But my thought is I should be able to, in order to get around any potential of risk, of, you know, hammered down on me from from Nintendo or from Bethesda or something like that. The idea to me would be potentially being able to create a digital storefront that, or a place like on my Ko-Fi, that I can list these and they can be available to people for free, but you can tip or donate. You get what I'm saying? So it's available to where it's just like, hey, like, you can take this, but I really appreciate if you support in some way. And in that way, it's not a required what's the word? Commission. It's not commercial purposes. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the waters I'm kind of trying to figure out right now. And I thought would be a good first rung. It'd be a good first starting point for something that can be simplistic in my efforts, but something that would be beneficial and enjoyable by different people within the niche. And so I mean, there's probably some of you in here right now who saw between this one here as well as the other one. Hey, how we doing, Lunar? Good to have you. Oh, I love that emote so much. But yeah, so So those were two that I had created, but I stopped myself because I was like, okay, I don't want to get too invested, because if it's something in the end that I truly cannot do, I don't want to have wasted too much time on. You know what I mean? Here's another example. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. There was one more. And this one I want to do a different one for. I want to do a different quote for, because it doesn't make sense quite much with this. But here's another one for these Halo fans out there. This is one I had looked at creating as well, and that's I need a weapon. And then 2 Corinthians 10:4, the weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. Again, taking gaming, connecting to faith, and taking a beloved quote from a beloved game and being able to think about it in a deeper way. And this connects it to, oh, wait. I need a weapon. And connecting to the biblical truth of, you know what? I got to be reminded that the weapons we fight with are divine in power. Anyway, so this idea, and this one I think I would change. I would change the picture, but this is a great example of, like, this one's a really good rendition of Master Chief, and so the question is it legal? Because there's no doubt in my mind that I wouldn't be able to make money off of Master Chief. You know what I mean? And so I have to figure out what I was saying about having to change with this is, like, with I need a weapon, like, I would want him without a weapon. You get what I mean? Anyway, so those are just some of the things I'm thinking through, and I think it plays it plays in two ways. The idea of creating something like this, and I say the first rung of the ladder, is it helps. M2K, I've been doing searches, man. It's gray. It is super gray. Some people yay, some people nay, and then some people say pay to figure it out. The lawyers, anyway. So I've looked at a bunch of different pieces, and it's like there's nothing that is truly that I can find easily that is truly emphatic about what to do. And historically, my MO when it comes to anything that I can't find a clear-cut yes, do it, is that I just avoid it. But with something like this, I'm like, but something like this, in my opinion, needs to exist. I really believe that something like this needs to exist to be able to take and reach into the culture of gamers and connect with something that a lot of us will already connect on. A quote, we all know I need a weapon from Master Chief, right? Or we all know war never changes. Or we all know it's me, I'm Mario, stuff like that. But to be able to connect it to Jesus saying, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me, to the it's a me Mario. Or to connect to we fight with divine weapons when we say I need a weapon. Or I think that this is a kind of thing that needs to exist. And that's why I wanted to do it. I wanted to create it. And I think it's a good first rung towards even the idea of different things with Shoestring Studio, the idea of creating products down the line and creating content down the line in which I can provide help and tips and such from my own experience and from my own research as well to help people get into and start content creation and do or do streaming specifically for somebody on a shoestring budget. This is something that creates a ground point. This is something that creates a touch point because it creates a trust, it creates a validity into the gaming world, right? Into relationships with those who game and connecting it into faith. So I think that this can be a good first rung leap pad towards rung 2, 3, and finally 4. I just got to figure out if it's legal or not. Another thing I've thought about is ways to I've got to look at stuff like ebooks and stuff like that. The plan really is to definitely, there we go. To definitely spend some focus looking at first steps towards building business, if you will. Building business. That's really I want to be creating business. And that's going to be a goal down the line. I know I've talked a lot about Shoestring Studio and what I want to create with that, and I'm trying to lay out. I'm trying to lay out an understanding of okay, let's look at from above full scale. Let's look at the big picture before I jump into any specific detail. And so I really want to be in a good direction when it comes to that. So so I want to practice. Like, things like this are things that help to set the groundwork. So it's not, and I've never been about this, and you guys know this. I've never been somebody who's just like, okay, I'm going to hop on Twitch so I can bum subs. That's not the goal. Like, I'm not on here to bum support. That's digital panhandling. Like, like alms for the poor. It's always appreciated and always and almost always accepted, but that's not the first and foremost. I want to create worthwhile content that deserves support, if that makes sense. And so I think connecting that into with a business mindset, connecting that into something that can actually have some I don't know what word I'm looking for, meat to it, I think is huge to be able to really set some things up. And the idea too, man, if I have something like, say I get 10 of these poster ideas or whatever, right? And I have a list of ideas, a bunch of different quotes, and being able to connect them, and whatever way I figure out, if I figure out understanding that it's legal to do as is, or maybe it's certain quotes that I can't, whatever, or if it's here it's available for free but you can support, it'd be much appreciated, that kind of stuff. Regardless, if that's able to happen on the side, it creates a little bit of a space for some support to be able to build, and you know what that means, right? If a little bit of support is able to go into an actual product, it's able to create an opportunity to create more product. It's able to create more time, more opportunity, which means more content, more of what I hope to build in the future. So it's just building from the ground up, and doing so while watching two monsters, and trying to figure out all of this, trying to figure out vision, trying to figure out kingdom work too, because in the midst of this, I've always been very clear about my vision, is that I want to make sure that all of what I'm doing is with an end goal of kingdom work, doing it for the Lord. Do I want to build business that helps to support my family, so we have financial support? Obviously. But I don't want to do that through digital goods and digital work if that's not honoring and pleasing to God and building his kingdom. Those are my, those are my morals. Those are my, I don't know if morals is the right word there, but that's my deal. I don't know where my water is this whole time. I've been jabbering on, guys, for like 30 minutes. And I think I left my water out in the other room. You know what I also didn't do before we hopped on, guys? You know what I also didn't do? I didn't eat. I'm hungry. Hence the title, I'm hangry. Part of that is because I spent time tonight really trying to... We wanted to make sure that my toddler got food first. And but a lot of things blended together tonight, and yes, you have. Be quiet. Wait, what? Oh, because I've been blabbering on for, oh my goodness, I just went out there. So, and that's where, like, even I think more of the opportunities that I have to stream, I think I want to spend more time. I want those to be more specific. Whether it's specific content I'm creating, or it's updates like this. Like a lot of this last half hour has been. It's about updating, giving an understanding. It's less about just gaming and stuff like that. But it's if you wanna be successful and build something, you've gotta put in all the time you have to do it. So. Been rambling. I haven't been rambling. I've been speaking with purpose. Speaking with purpose. All right, guys, we are gonna do something though, real quick. I'm gonna do ads right now, because I left my water out there. I'm gonna get water and maybe get a snack or something, and but you guys won't miss any content, and there'll be no pre-roll ads for people coming in on purpose. Yeah. How do you do that? I can't even do a noise. I can't even do a noise for a porpoise dolphin. All right. I'll be right back. I'll be back in. What do you guys think? Should we do 2 minutes or 3? 3 gives you a full hour, I believe. 3 gives you a full hour of no pre-roll ads. I think we go 3. I'm just gonna run 3. All right, guys, stick around though. We'll be back. Chit chat a little bit more. Maybe play a game tonight. I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. We might just be chatting more about goals and future and different stuff. So stick around. I don't want to be hangry forever. All right. So if you guys didn't know, and you are ever curious, like, you know what? I really want to get Delkery food, because I feel like, you know, he's just not himself when he's hungry, or, you know, it's a way that I could support him in the way of just making sure his belly is full, or his wife's belly is full, or that his wife gets a sweet treat or something like that. Always welcome to check out exclamation point food or exclamation point grub. It does exist. It does exist. Treat stream. Or you can just tell me to go order something on Grubhub or something like that. But anyway. Did that change how? No, it doesn't. Me no likey. Does it? Oh, it does change how loud that is. I'm trying a different slider that I have available to me with the music. Can you guys hear that as light background music now? I'm gonna sit down. Oh man. My chair's a little low. There we go. All right. There we go. We're sitting down. Still got so much cleaning to do in here. And this is one of the things, man. It's so hard to break up. I really struggle. I need an admin assistant. I really do. I wish I had the money to pay just even one person, because I feel like it would truly maximize my capability to build towards the future. I really do. So my wife doesn't understand this stuff and doesn't really have any desire to. And so like looking to try and get her to be a part of things is not realistic. So, man. Man, this is a mess around me. I'll do it for free. Well, maybe I'll have to mock something up of what I'm looking for. We'll have to talk. Yeah. Because, there's been another piece that's been on my mind a lot lately. A lot lately, in the way of, like, I did youth ministry for 10 years. And, I've been out of youth ministry for now 2.5. And which is hard to believe, but with that, I've recently kind of been wondering if my heart's draw has been correct in the way of potentially looking to, build a resume. Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. Rebuild my resume and potentially look towards youth ministry again in the local local church ministry. I don't know though. It's just been something that's kind of like been percolating. Again, all of this though with like I want to make sure that what I do is for the kingdom and what I do is right and good and honoring to God. So, what was I gonna do? So here, let's try and figure some of this out actually here on stream. What do you guys think? Let me do some like Google searches and stuff and chat this out as I try and figure this out more. Here we go. Okay, so I'm on Reddit. Okay, so this is where we're gonna chat this out a little bit. I'm on Reddit and they're talking about, somebody asks the question of like, I want to sell a homemade 3D model or 3D print of Link from The Legend of Zelda. It's my art style of him doing my favorite pose. Is that legal, or could that lead to Nintendo trying to beat me up financially? In this scenario, I've personally 100% created the art and or 3D print with intention to sell online. And the first response, somebody had said, yes, they could sue you. Would you be okay with someone taking a character you made and selling merchandise without your permission? Wouldn't that be stealing from you? The same applies to Link or any other character. You didn't come up with it, so it's not yours to sell. And so with the character piece, I can agree with that. But the question is, fan art, your own style. In copyright law, there are some explicit exceptions for educational use. However, there are no actual exceptions or explanations for fair use. Rather, fair use exists in the area where rights are not explicitly dictated, and where rights holders have been reluctant to test the strict definitions, sue people, for fear of creating a precedence and expanding the explicit fair use rights. Style doesn't matter as much as content. Are you exploiting the notoriety of an existing character in hopes of commercial gain? Well, then you are breaking copyright laws, since they prohibit commercial gain from others' art. If you were to stand in front of a judge and explain your venture, would you be able to convince them that it is significantly original enough to not be based on someone's existing work? If not, then the rights holder will win the case. It would be poor advice to tell you to proceed to put yourself in such a precarious position. This person then asks the question about, I see people selling this stuff on, say, Etsy without repercussions. I doubt that they're all approved by Nintendo. Are they just taking a gamble? Even though it should be legal, it isn't. Even if you use them in your own art, it's still copyright infringement if you use your intellectual properties without their permission. It goes as far as the character itself or the naming behind it. Example, I modeled the boomerang from Breath of the Wild, but I just sell it as a boomerang. No reference to Zelda or anything, and I created the thing myself. No reference to Zelda or anything, and I created the thing myself. Doesn't matter. If you copied it without permission, it's infringement. However, you can modify it. I see custom characters and inspirations only. Yeah, see, and that's the thing. It's trying to figure that out. I'm confused. Basically, don't use the characters and don't try and use anything that looks exactly like the characters. Or props or anything like that. Okay. This person is, okay, so the question is it okay to sell product if I sell products created by myself with video game characters on it? I did not create the characters. This person responds, professional game programmer and designer. Those characters you didn't create, they're the intellectual property of insert company here, copyright. That logo you didn't create is the intellectual property of insert company here, trademark. If you do not have a license from them to use their intellectual property, you are putting yourself at risk of very expensive legal action. They can and will bankrupt you with lawsuits. They will take every dollar you make and substantial damages on top of it. It's not okay, and it's not smart. Let me see what these responses are to this. Yeah, this is the thing. Okay. So here's another thing I'm finding is somebody making a statement that, like, if you look on a place like Etsy, for example, you'll see a ton of people selling Assassin's Creed stuff and Elder Scrolls stuff and Fallout stuff and Halo stuff and Zelda stuff. And for the most part, the companies are okay with it for fan stuff. Small turnover craft work within the fan community strengthens the community. If you become big enough for them to notice you, then you'll need to either get a license, which is expensive or difficult, or stop producing. You might get their lawyers telling you not to use certain trademarks, characters, or logos, in which case just obey them and let them know you did so. There are always plenty of other things to craft about the game that won't be a problem for their lawyers. It would be a really good idea to consult a lawyer before starting, however. A small business can be easily bankrupted if a large company decides to make an example of them. Or, more likely, if you take out a loan to make a big run on a popular item, then get a cease and desist on that item, you're left in the hole with a bunch of products you can't shift. The equivalent of this has happened to a friend of mine. Made a fan movie for $30,000 and then got a cease and desist before he could screen it. Ooh. Man, avoid companies which don't have a lot of fan products on Etsy. Those ones are probably the ones with active lawyers patrolling the waters. There's a third option between getting a license and just hoping they don't notice you. You could sell your stuff to someone who can afford a license if you can find one that is interested. Interesting. So I know one that's usually really quick on this stuff is Nintendo, right? Nintendo is usually quick to jump on stuff, anything to do with Mario or Pokemon, things like that. So you can release a game, but if the game garners a lot of attention, then you'll have copyright strikes and they'll nerf your game, or try to, and will eventually kill it. I personally like fan-made games as it leads you to a parallel universe of a game. Yeah, but it takes the ideas of that original company and it gives money towards somebody else as if they were the creator of that. So I can understand why it's wrong. Yeah. So, I mean, I think the easiest way is to keep away from characters. You know what I mean? Keep away from specifically characters. But like, for example, if I go back and show you guys this one here, the Fallout one, I guess the thing I need to look at, I need to go, because I know if you look at something as simple as War Never Changes, you can see I already searched it. War Never Changes copyright. It's a trademark of Bethesda. So can I use it? Because one of the issues, like the bigger issue for me is not the characters. It's not the characters, it's not any of the background stuff. The biggest thing to me is this whole idea has to do with the quote and taking the idea presented from the quote and connecting specifically the idea of biblical truth that's presented to counteract that or to come beside that, to connect that idea. And so, can I use that? That's the question. Red, that's the stuff I've been looking into. IP law, which is intellectual property, copyright law, fair use law. So fair use is the hardest one to. It's so vague. Understanding fair use is so stupid. The biggest thing to me is understanding copyright, because then what does that look like? Because even if you go on here and I'm like fair use law with copyright, unlicensed use of copyrighted material in certain circumstances, limited portions of a work including wait a minute quotes for purposes such as commentary, criticism, news reporting, and scholarly reports. And so the question then becomes, does like for example, this one here, war never changes, but then quoting Hebrews 13:8, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Could that be argued as criticism or commentary? I'm commentating with with biblical truth, with biblical scripture about an idea. The issue is there are no legal rules permitting the use of a specific number of words, a certain number of musical notes, a percentage of work. This all depends on the circumstances. That's the issue. So, I guess what I could do, guys, is I could do this. I could look at these. I could with in mind, wisdom in mind about like, okay, I want to be very careful with certain, characters. I do need to look and see, okay, which ones out there are more which games are more fan oriented in the way of like what they're okay with people creating fan art for and stuff like that. Lean towards those, and then I can do different stuff with the quotes and stuff. Because like I don't know about you guys, but this to me, when I finished this one, I was so happy at this. I was so proud of this one, guys. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are. Would you pay $5 for this? $10 for this? Would you pay for this? To have a 2 foot by 3 foot poster hanging on your wall, or just a 8.5 by 11. This is what it looks like. Where'd it go? That's not it. If you just have it as an 8.5 by 11 sheet, I just think you frame that clean. It looks so good. But I don't know. And do I just do this as something small right now, but it's not something that like I lean on in the future? You know what I mean? It's just meant to be something to, because to me, it if you look at the idea of commentary, it's this specific piece is commentating upon this quote with my my belief of what is actually true. That's commentary and criticism, I would think, but I'm not a lawyer who would argue for or against. And obviously, if I do go forward with that, I'd have to look at this. I need to look at the like fall. Can I use the Fallout logo in general? Because that would be the first thing. I mean, I love how it draws it together personally, but I could understand it not being. But what do you guys think in chat? I want to hear in chat, like, what do you guys think about that? Any thoughts on the I shouldn't say would you buy that one if you knew that it supported me and my and my efforts, but also you get a pretty sweet thing out of it. Would you consider the idea of purchasing an item like this? So it may not be specifically Fallout War Never Changes with that scripture, but maybe you're a Halo fan and the idea of doing one from Halo, or maybe you're a, what's my list? I got a list somewhere around here. Let me see if I can find it. I think where'd my list go? Oh, wait, it's not in here. What am I doing? It's in this one, right? Yeah, so I had thought another fun one I could do, guys. A fun one I could do is like from Skyrim, being able to do, everybody knows the guy who's just like I used to be an adventurer like you, and then I took an arrow to the knee, right in the knee. And being able to connect that like to something like 1 Corinthians 10:12, like therefore let anyone who thinks that he stands take heed lest he fall, or something like that. You know what I mean? Or Master Chief has a couple of great ones. Wake me when you need me, or a hero need not speak when he is gone, the world will speak for him, or something like that. And then I have here the idea of like Matthew 25:23, well done, good and faithful servant, like connecting those in the same picture. Um, what is that? From Bioshock, I guess there's one, a man chooses, a slave obeys. And then like Galatians 5:13, you, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh, rather serve one another humbly in love. Um, what's some others here? We all make choices in life, but in the end, our choices make us. That's also, I think, from Bioshock, right? What is a man but the sum of his memories? We are the stories we live, the tales we tell ourselves. Um, the right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world. That's apparently from Half-Life 2. Haven't played that. Haven't played it, though. Then stand in the ashes of a trillion dead souls and ask the ghosts if honor matters. The silence is your answer. That's from Mass Effect 3. Nothing is true, everything is permitted. That's from Assassin's Creed 2. Obviously can easily point to 1 Corinthians 6:12. I have the right to do anything you say, but not everything is beneficial, right? What else do we got? Hope is what makes us strong. It is why we are here. It is what we fight with when all else is lost, from God of War 3. The world doesn't need a hero. It needs a professional. That's from The Witcher 3. But like these kind of quotes, I just need to identify, like, are they good to do? In the darkest of times, hope is something you give yourself. That is the meaning of inner strength. That's from Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Burning Earth. We work in the dark to serve the light. That's from Assassin's Creed. Every choice... Ooh, this one I love. Every choice you make, no matter how small, is a significant one. That's from Bioshock Infinite. So much truth there. So much truth there. Life is cruel. Of this I have no doubt. One can only hope that one leaves behind a lasting legacy. From Castlevania, Lords of Shadow. So do a barrel roll, like that can be fun too. Like start from Star Fox, do a barrel roll, and then connecting it to 1 Corinthians 10:31. Whatever you do it all for the glory of God. You know what I mean? So there's fun little ways to be able to connect as I'm trying to build other pieces for business venture, just as like entry connection pieces. So, if our lives are already written, it would take a courageous man to change the script. Bum bum bum. It's from Alan Wake, I believe. I believe I can fly. Why do I feel like that wasn't my full list? But like, for example, I said the It's a Me Mario one from earlier. I don't know that I'd be able to do that one because Nintendo is pretty locked down. They're pretty locked down. And so I don't know that I could do. What is it? No matter how dark the night, morning always comes, and our journey begins anew, from Final Fantasy X. Being able to use like Psalm 30 verse 5, weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning. So there's a lot of potential with this, a lot of potential. And I could even ask you guys, like, what are some indie game, because the other thing is, like, this could be something, like, it's one thing to obviously draw out, we can all think of like well-known, Bioshock series, Halo, Assassin's Creed, there's a lot of well-known ones. But I wonder if it'd be something to even connect with, I know, like indie developers, in the way of like, hey, this is something I like to do just for fun. Could I do it for you? Can I use your, this quote from your kind of thing? It might be an inroad to talking, just, and connecting with different things in that front with, with my background plan of creating a video game. Maybe that's my in. Maybe that's my inroad. But so much to try and understand. Uh well, I might try to think for a second. Should I try for the first time in a long time to play a video game? Like not play a storyline, but to hop into something. Like, should I try to play like some Fortnite or some Apex and just see what happens? I'm kind of, I'll be honest with you guys, like I've spoken a lot of what's been on my heart and mind, and part of me feels like either I game a little and then call it a night, or just call it a night on streaming, and then specifically spend time working on some of the things I was talking about. Unless I do it on, I guess I could always just create on stream. Duh, I could always create some of these Canva things on stream right away. M2K's like, Fortnite, do it. Well, just for you, I will turn on the Xbox and see if it's working. I will at least do that for you. How about that? How about them apples? By the way, guys, we hope to one day find ourselves in a positive direction towards an Xbox Series X to be able to play some College Football 25. Would love to play College Football 25. Be able to play some of these games like Fortnite and Apex and stuff on on the updated one, as well as some of the story games that I have access to, and that are obviously at their best on the X or S. But we all know the X over the S, right? So I just got to figure out. Oh, my controller's up there. Should I stand back up? Aloha. See? Aloha. I joked with my wife tonight. I saw an offer from a high school in Hawaii, guys. It was and the offer was for it said head coaching football position at a high school in Hawaii. I said, "But babe, we've got my next gig. We're moving to Hawaii. Sorry." But when I clicked on it and actually read it, they're looking for a couple assistant roles. And by assistant, then you're looking at somewhere between like $3,500 and $5,000 for the season. It's like, with how inflated prices are in Hawaii, it's so expensive down there. So expensive. So that ain't happening. That ain't doing it. I'm at least turning it on just for you, M2K. We gotta get you a sub at some point. We gotta get you subbed at some point. I better shrink this back again. Bye-bye. Oh, man. I know I need money. I bet 95% of us are saying the same thing. I need money. I need it. I needs it. All right. So let's do this. Well, I'm going to pull up. Where'd that go? Okay, I wanted to make sure. Also, talking about, town hall updates and stuff, guys. I'm looking at um I'm looking at all of the different pieces that I've been talking about, different things with connecting with gamers, connecting gaming and faith, as well as shoestring budget stuff, as well as potential stuff with cleats off the couch and football related things and stuff. And I'm looking at, like, it is a plan. It's not a potential. It is a plan. It's just I don't know what it is going to entail completely yet. Of which the Discord, the lodge, will be revamped. It will be reset. Not like, okay, we're going to create a new Discord server, but I'm going to be gutting it and looking at ways to better organize, to better take care of roles, to better kind of house different forms of content. And then down the line, if different pieces, say for example, the shoestring studio becomes, find some traction or something like that, I may create its own server for people in there. But the idea is looking at how do we have the lodge, and which is the overarching about all of these ideas and the things that I'm investing into, and the community within all of those pieces, but allowing opportunities, one, for the communities to all interact as one community, but also specific within the niche that somebody might be there for. The podcast sounds nice. What do you mean by that? I might have missed your context with that, what you were responding to. Were you talking about the cleats off the couch one? Or were you talking about the idea towards the shoestring budget piece? Oh, I got you. Yeah. So if you're not already following M2K, it's actually a thing. Believe it or not. It's actually a thing. If you go to, I just haven't been able to do anything with it. So I believe if you do, like, let me do this real quick in chat. Don't click on this link until I do, and I can tell you if it works or not. Yep, it works. So that link right there takes you right to the actual Podbean home drop, and the 18 episodes, kind of what we were doing, and it kind of morphed because, like, the first, what was it? The first 8? No, it was the first 11 episodes were like just predictions for that season. So, and then episode 12 was me just running with a topic point of conversation, the top 5 reasons why the GOAT doesn't exist. And then from there, it was about episode 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Like, they were all about, like, connecting with other fans and then having deeper conversations that came out of the topic of football. So, and I have some still in the backlog to create. It's just, priorities of time. That one was one that I had to, like, shelve. But, and if you go to @cleatsoff, actually, I guess I can just be pulling this up here so you can see it. But right there, this is the cleats off the couch page. But if you go to YouTube, youtube.com/@cleatsoff, I think that's what it is. It's just cleats off. Boom, there you go. There's YouTube. And I got 36 subscribers, and I haven't uploaded a video in a hot minute. So so that is something that does need to be returned to, 100%. But I do, like, to the other thing about the shoestring studio piece, I was going to say it'd be great to have some sort of podcast with that. But that's a down the line thing. That would have to be a down the line thing because that's just too many ideas up front. Too many ideas. And the issue with the one negative about the shoestring studio thing is if you're creating content for people who are literally on shoestring budgets. Nice. Appreciate you. Thanks. If I'm creating content for people who are on shoestring budgets, what is that going to mean for actual potential business and income? I feel like it's definitely a piece of what I should do because it's been my experience and something I can actually offer. That's one of the things about finding your niche and actually niching down is specifically identifying what has been, how does he put it? What has been your story? What are the systems that you have in place or you have experienced, and what's your passion? And that's one thing is I love to provide tips and help to people based upon my experience, and especially when it's something I've experienced this, so I know that like, hey, this, I can give you some help with this, run with this, or I wish I would have known that and you might be able to do better than me with it because you do know it now, things like that. um yeah, so that's some of that there, but yeah, I do need to get back to the cleats piece. I've got to do that maybe this Saturday. Let me look at my, I have a, let me look at my expected work schedule. What's today? 23rd. What time did I really actually? AP. By the way, if you guys didn't see, exclamation point, exclamation, like I said to you, well, first of all, let me finish my thought. Exclamation point, YouTube, and check out the most recent short that dropped earlier today. M2K, I know you already did. You commented. So let me look here on current work schedule. So what was I going to say? Yeah, M2K, just make sure my emphasis would be episodes 12. I think episodes 12 and then 14 on, because 1 through 11 were based upon predictions just for the going into the 2022 football season. So it's a while ago. And then episode 13, I believe that one was kind of like me recapping after a few weeks of the season had gone by and looking at different predictions and stuff like that. So if you want to look at ones that can be relevant forever, episode 12 was one of my favorites that I did. It's the top 5 reasons why the GOAT doesn't exist. And then episodes 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, like those are all with guests and having different conversations. So there you go. That's the list. And then the goal will be to actually add to that, create episodes at least like 19 through 24, our backlog of guests that I had, and then actually looking at what I can do with the future stuff, or I look at future stuff and then those other ones become like special, like here's a special look. The issue is some of the conversations from a lot of them are outdated. Not because the pieces of the conversations that have to do with specific topics of life and faith are never outdated. But the specific parts of the conversations that had to do with like predictions for the season and how you were feeling, how they were feeling at that time that we talked about how their football team was doing and stuff like that, those are outdated. That's over 2 years old. So yeah, M2K, it just takes a lot of extra work. When I had originally done Cleats Off the Couch, I did it as a video. So it's a video podcast, and then I would extract, after editing, I would extract the audio, and then you would have the audio, which is on Podbean, Spotify, Google. Well, Google is now sunsetting. Google Podcast is sunsetting, but Apple Podcast, it's literally everywhere. If I go back to that. Look at this. This is the cool thing, and especially why. Look at this, right here. We're on Apple Podcasts, the Podbean app, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, the Samsung Podcast app, and Podchaser. It's available on all of those. And so, looking further into the vision, the overall vision of any content I create, which is how do I reach into like interests that I have alongside of others who have those same interests, make connections, build relationships, and share the gospel. Cleats Off the Couch is a beautiful way for me to do that with other NFL fans, other average Joes, to talk about our teams, to talk about different themes and different stuff that maybe somebody has dealt with within their life, that football has been a part of, and football has helped with, or football has affected in some way, whatever. And so it creates a cool connection point with other fans of the game. And so it's really vision centric. So I definitely do, I talk about more and more, and it definitely needs to happen again. I need to emphasize, because I have a period of time every Saturday to where I have a portion set aside for what I call other creation, which is where I look at different other forms of creation, content creation, that I need to make sure that I'm working on. And I might need to fulfill one of those time slots for the next few weeks with that. Maybe look at how can I take 1 hour every Saturday out of my at least 4 hours I work. I work on stuff for at least 4 hours on a Saturday, sometimes more depending on how the week nights went. And we'll take 1 hour every week, so 4 hours a month. It should be doable to get the podcast back. It really should be. So, but back to what you were saying about people doing their podcasts on Twitch. It takes a lot, because you are, like, when I'm not streaming, what I can be doing is I've made contact points with that person. We've prepared for the conversation, prepared the episode, and then when we do record the episode, we have I'm just focusing on them. One of the issues is I know when you're focusing on all the pieces that have to be focused on with when you're streaming, is it takes away from actual depth, some of the depth and some of the directions and some of the candor that you can have with the conversation, unless you have committed mods or something, which Cleats Off the Couch is technically still in its infancy, you know what I mean? So that's one of the difficulties about that, 100%. But part of the plan was I was preparing for supporters of, I had a Patreon for it, and I don't think I'll go back to Patreon, but I think I will shift everything over and do another maybe just do a specific tier of the coffee, of the Ko-Fi, to where if people want to support Cleats Off the Couch specifically and our ventures within football, then they can do that tier. We might do something like that, or just create a whole nother one that's specific to Cleats Off the Couch. I don't know yet. These are some of those vision pieces that had to be extracted for details. And the idea of live, like you just put out there, was something that I was, at the time, I was looking at transitioning towards. And it would be specifically available to supporters. So it wouldn't be like everybody would get a chance to be able to hear the podcast, right? The podcast would release as an episode, and once a month or something. I think it was monthly on Tuesday mornings or something like that. And so he's retiring. Oh, interesting. And so with that, to be able to see it live, it was going to be a perk for supporters, that they would be able to be a part of the live chat, stuff like that, kind of like a members only live, but it's a public available podcast after recorded. Wait, how is he retiring and then signed with the Raiders? How does that work? Minutes ago, he signed a 1-year contract worth as much as $3 million with the Raiders, and was expected to compete for the team's number 3 spot, but he instead retired Tuesday, the day before the Raiders' first training camp practice. Interesting. I wonder what his reasoning is. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. But yeah, M2K, I need to get back on that. Maybe that can be something here. You had said earlier about you'll do it for free. Listen, specifically to Cleats Off the Couch. All right, I'm speaking to you. There's only like 3 of us in here right now anyway. Speaking to you specifically. All right, you ready for this? Can I give you a volunteer responsibility that would be helpful to me and helpful to then content? Ready. All right, since you're already in the Discord and stuff, like you'd be able to like check in, you'd be able to remind, you'd be able to do things like that. What I need is I need like a weekly reminder on Saturday morning. Hey, let's get some how's that cleats off content coming? Let's get some cleats off content going. Something like that. Something to the effect of just a reminder of make sure you're taking a little bit of time. Let's make this work, you know? And you can be my I'm checking in because I'm somebody who wants this. And I want to see you succeed with this. But you be my guy with that, all right? With that specifically. Just one little thing about the cleats off thing. And here's the other thing. A way that you can even be more helpful than you think with that is don't be afraid to share news. Don't be afraid to share thoughts and opinions and stuff like that on football in the Sports Central. If you're doing that, it can help lead conversation, and it could also possibly do create, I should say not create, but pull eyes to stuff I might miss or might not know, and it could help to create potential parts of conversation and content moving forward. So if you're a sports guy, go ahead and light that room up. You know what I mean? My goodness, #, hashtag Sports Central there in the lodge. Like I said way earlier in stream, there are going to be some changes that happen, but obviously you'll be able to follow the changes that happen because I'll give announcements and stuff like that. But as of right now, Sports Central, light it up. Nice. There you go, MTK. So yeah, and I'm not saying, now hear me out. I'm not saying, you know what I mean, just put it on blast and just every 2 seconds you're sharing new news and stuff like that. But at the same time, don't be afraid to post stuff in there. I feel like if some people have certain interests, man, that's part of what I'm talking about of reshaping even the lodge when I'm talking about the Discord server reshape, is the idea of like being connected, as a community. So you still having conversation with Axis and with Red and with me and with some others and stuff like that. But then specifically, you're big into football. And so others who may come to join because of the Cleats Off the Couch content, there's a connection point that can happen there, and can be built upon within that niche, if you will. I like to say niche. I know different people say niche and niche. Niche does not sound good to me. I don't know why. And it doesn't sound like NICHE would sound. I don't know. So, but I appreciate that, M2K. That would be I think that'd be a huge benefit. Huge benefit, especially looking at this idea. And I have to look at trying to, because 2 thoughts. One, I have to look at trying to kind of pull back, even just jump into one of the niches. So specifically in this conversation, cleats off the couch, football stuff, football related activities or content. I could fill up way too much for one episode of a podcast, right? Even if it's a monthly episode, spend 4 hours a month, 1 hour every Saturday working on it, and the episode releases the first Tuesday of every month or something like that at 5 a.m. I remember doing research on the timings and stuff like that, or Monday morning. I forget which day it was now. I said it with confidence and now I'm not sure. But I need to kind of siphon that there. But also, earlier tonight, I gave a bunch of not a bunch of understanding to current decisions, current vision, current updates about different stuff. In the same way, when you commit to something with other people, committing then to updating them can be hugely beneficial to pushing them to actually complete certain things and do different things. You know what I'm saying? And so not only in the way of if you're sharing stuff and helping conversations move forward with the sports stuff and sports section and stuff like that, it can also then engage, like, man, because you keep bringing it up and you keep mentioning, even, hey, Delkery, what are things looking like for the next episode? Or how are things looking? And I can give updates. And you know what it's like when any kind of developer, any kind of creator, any kind of anything gives updates. One, it builds for something, but it also keeps me like, okay, I've got to do something with this because I need to give another update. You know what I'm saying? So it creates not a pressure. Well, it is a pressure. It's a healthy pressure, though, to actually see those things fulfilled. So I think that's one way. If you want to be a help, see a friend, help a friend. You know what I mean? As the McAfee would say. So good stuff. Good stuff. I know not many people have been here tonight, but I feel like we've had. I've shared a bunch of important things. I don't know that if they're clip worthy or highlight worthy for a YouTube video, but they've been important and they've been good. So speaking of, I gotta check with Hilly. He's not here right now, but I gotta check with Hilly and see. Excuse me. See what's going on. He had said the other week when we did that Only Up one, he asked if he could do like the fall or whatever, all the falls, and like do some sort of video. I'm curious if he created something from that. So, but we're gonna do this, guys. We are going to we're gonna do it. We are going to test and see if what's going on there? All right. We're going to try and play some Fortnite. We're going to try and return. I have not touched Fortnite in a hot minute. And by a hot minute, I mean in years. Years. I realize I keep looking off, just off. Do you guys notice that? Is that noticeable with my eyeballs? I keep looking over here at the little screen where I can see my feedback. And I need to look at you. Didn't know if that was noticeable or not, but we're gonna see. Let's go to games. Where's Fortnoggin? Oh, I clicked on it. Is it gonna do it, or is it gonna tell me that there's an update? Because that's what it kept doing forever, and then it would go to do an update, and it would say it couldn't do it. Fortnite needs an update. We're to see. $56 GB update? Huh? Completes in an hour. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm not playing Fortnite tonight, it seems. Hi, Chihuahua. Okay, well, we're going to pause that. It probably would go faster if I wasn't streaming. See, now it says Fortnite installation stop. This has been the issue that I've had the past bunch of times when I've completely deleted Fortnite off of everything and then I've re-downloaded it. But when I did that a couple weeks ago, when we talked about it in Discord, somebody had brought it up. I think it was Metal Christian or whatever had brought it up, and I said I would see. I did, and I got into it. I didn't play a game or anything, but I got into the launcher. But now, I don't know. We just need to be done with this Xbox One S. That's what we need to be. Oh my goodness, and now I got 5 updates. Oh, I can't even do Apex because it needs an update. Well, guess I'm not playing any of that there stuff. Here's the thing. We're going to do some live research. You guys ready? We're going to do some live research. So what I want to do is look at... Is it Sully Gnome? And look at what games... Wait. There's a way... Sully Gnome, I don't think, does right now. No. I don't think it can. If, no, I don't want Twitch tracker. Is that the one? I did. He's looking like M2K. He's looking like Slim Shady. Looking a little bit like Eminem. All right, so I don't think that's active, is it? Active streamers. Is that showing right now? Or is that just saying active as in people who are doing it? Because what I wanted to see was like, this is what I wanted to see. An easy way to be able to look at like what games. I want to know how, I want to know how to better do this. What games are people like are being played, but in correlation to that, one, do I have that game? And two, could I play that game and be one of the top 3 in that channel? You know what I'm saying? Because that's a big way to be able to try and just take over. But I highly doubt. I don't know how to search specifically like for smaller games. You know what I'm saying? Just chatting is just chatting. Roblox. Yeah, see, it's just so many. Most watch games on Twitch. Ranked by current live viewers. Also shows change in viewers for the last 10 minutes and share of viewers between all Twitch games in percentage. Okay. So I think we're looking at something here. Don't have any of those. Fortnite is like, obviously, they're down 2.5% the last 10 minutes for live viewers. But the issue with some of these is looking at, okay, but within that, what's the share? The share of viewers between the top and everyone else. You know what I'm saying? That's the difficult thing of trying to better understand. Because one of the things I don't want to do is just like, I have like if I were to just look at like, oh, I have Genesis Noir from Game Pass. Let's see. Could that draw in people, you know? And then just be like, there's 53 live viewers right now. Average viewers over the past 7 days, 7. No. Yeah, live channels. So there's one channel. Now I gotta look at this. Now I want to look here on Twitch. If I were to look at and browse, and I were to go look up Genesis Noir, boom. It says that there are 47 viewers, but there's no live channels. Oh, it's because I doubt they're English. I doubt it's in English. Interesting. But that's some of the detail stuff I want to better figure out too, with what games we play, if I do play games. Specific, you know, looking to make content, looking to always not just make content, but looking to maximize my time. You know what I mean? I don't even think the sound is working right on this, to be honest with you. But if I were to go and isn't there like a, oh wait, I have to go back over to games and apps, and then, oh wait, I can switch this so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. Xbox. Woohoo! That's not it. That's it. Let me know. Oh, nothing can be heard. All right. Now let's reset that. See if you guys can. Hey, we can hear things again. No, Game Pass is not free. Nope. Game Pass Core is their cheapest one, and that's $10 right now a month. If you get it straight from Microsoft, $10 a month, and that's going to be going up in September. Game Pass Ultimate, which is where you can play games on Game Pass via your Xbox and on PC, that is currently $17 a month, going up to $20 a month in September. And so I'm locked in all through 2025 via some different keys and stuff that I had purchased for Game Pass. So we're locked in, baby. We got it. But it is not free. There is not a free version. This is the full, but I needed to go to Game Pass. There we go. And then from here, can I go to filter? And then that's what I wanted to see. What happens if I hit surprise me? Oh, scary game time, guys. Scary game. I don't think we're ready for that tonight. We gotta have a dedicated time to do something like that. 100%. Whoa. Why is my video not? Huh? Okay, there we go. My camera was frozen. Interesting. Bum, bum, bum. My son and I just finished a short hike. It's a cute little game. Yeah. And see, that's the thing. Like, part of me is like, I don't think I'm not prepared. Like I need to be more prepared with the idea of like, okay, we're gonna play this specific story game, so I don't want to start one tonight. I was thinking maybe we could play a game or two of like, Fortnite or something like that, but that's all right. It's not gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. So we'll get it on the flippity flop. But tomorrow night, guys, gonna be the plan right now is still to be live over on TikTok at 9 p.m. I gotta figure out more of how I want to do that because I gotta be real with you. Just talking about like just trying to talk about things coming into this next season and stuff. It was difficult. Like maybe it was because there was only like 2 people with me the whole time and we just got to build a little bit more on TikTok, but the other thing that is kind of an issue is I do have a Cleats Off the Couch M2K. I do have a Cleats Off the Couch TikTok alongside of the YouTube and podcast that was for clips and stuff. Again, also when I had to kind of put down Cleats Off for a while, nothing's been posted on there in a while, but that account is nowhere near the needed followers and stuff for me to be able to do lives. My Delkery account I've had since it was before it was TikTok, it was Musically, and I've had that since like 2014, 2015 maybe. And so I've had that forever. And I think I got grandfathered in, which is why I have live access and I have live studio. I got to figure out and set up and everything. But, so one of the things I think that kind of throws it off is that on an account, Delkery, that isn't just for football, I'm limiting conversation to just football. So yeah. So, last week I had some prompts and some pieces to talk about, but when you don't have people back and forth with you and stuff like that, it becomes difficult. So I just got to think more about how I want to do that. And I think tomorrow night we're just going to talk through kind of like predictions. We'll talk through the season, matchups, who we think where, stuff like that. And kind of get a feel then towards what the actual outcome of the season, what the playoffs will be for, for my prediction set. But I'm going to fight with you about how good the Bengals are. I don't want to fight, but you're wrong. So, anyway, so that's happening tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. TikTok.com/@Delkery, or just search @Delkery on the mobile app. And we want to continue to be building there, 100%. That is true. Let me look here. Where are we sitting? We're sitting. We got 650 followers is where we're sitting on TikTok. So the quest for 1K, right? Gotta keep building. Gotta keep building. Gotta keep building. So apparently 9 people have visited my. So, anyway, there's always too much to think about. It is 9:50. We're going to close up shop, and I'm going to remind you, anyone listening now, or if you're watching the VOD, or if this becomes a clip of some sort, I just want to remind you this. You are a unique, unrepeatable, beautiful, and intelligent miracle of God. You're made in His image, made with a purpose and a plan. You are loved, and you have great value. That's your identity. It's not based upon who you are or who you think you are, what others say about you, what you have failed to do or succeeded with. It's not who you are. It's whose you are and what they say about you. So, with that being said, hope you all have a great night. And remember, happy gaming, happy living, God bless. We'll see you tomorrow night. TikTok.